watching The Morning Show on eTV. Thank you so much for staying with us. And as we continue to celebrate Heritage Month, we're reminded that heritage isn't just about the cultural traditions, which is what we know, and those values that we pass down. It's also about the habits and the practices that shape our lives, including how we manage our finances. Today, we're diving into the idea of building a financial heritage within our families. What we teach our children about money can have a lasting impact on their future. And to help us explore the important topic, of course, we're joined by Dr. Frank Magwegwe, a friend of the show, better known as Dr. Max, a financial expert who is passionate about helping families create a legacy of good financial behaviors. Dr. Max, welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having me on the show. What a fantastic topic.
Yeah.
Financial heritage. I really love that. We were talking off camera, just how we grew up and kind of our early interactions with money.
Yeah, I think to myself, a lot of us, our first interaction with money is pocket money and maybe a piggy bank, and then somewhere there it just gets lost.
True.
But let's understand that. I mean, the idea of heritage and financial heritage being a thing is foreign for a lot of people.
Yes.
In what ways, or maybe let me say this, why is it important to build healthy financial decisions within a family with our kids from a young age?
I think simply because any one of us who's now in this adulting space, right, would know how hard it is to change behavior. Simple things like go and shop with a list, as an example. Understand the difference between needs and wants. It's just another example. Cutting down perhaps takeaways, or even, let's forget all these three I've mentioned, even the habit of checking your bank statement regularly.
Oh, don't
we know,
name,
there you
Dr.
go.
Frank, don't say that.
So we're saying during these heritage months that how about empowering those you love so that when they're adulting, they don't have to struggle with changing behavior. They already, in the main, have good financial habits that they were introduced to at an early age. That's the idea of financial heritage.
But how do we go about this? Because I think for a lot of parents, it's just like, I mean, I remember growing up always hearing,
Yes.
This is all I have between me and poverty. But I wasn't learning about budgeting and saving and spending money. How can parents then involve their kids and ultimately teach them these particular financial principles?
I love the example that you gave, right? I don't know if you've just realized. That example is what we call a mindset, right? What is a mindset? It's beliefs and attitudes towards money in this instance. Now, I want to say to our viewers there, by constantly saying that to kids, you are introducing at an early age a scarcity mindset.
Sure.
That money is something that's always not there without you knowing it. So you're getting an adult growing up with a sense of this thing called money, it's always there. That's the message that I was just told growing up. And there is research that tells us today that there's a huge difference between kids growing up being reminded constantly that money is not there. In other words, you don't make it so evident. We don't have money. Money is not there. Money is not there. That says to the kid, you're programming the child to a scarcity mindset.
Oh my goodness, Dr. Frank, we must now add Dr. Pastor Frank Magwegwe. Because you're preaching. This is something that is so real.
It's critical.
I can almost imagine that someone said this to their child this morning.
Absolutely.
What are some of the things that a parent can do to teach children the value of money?
The value of money is taught in so many ways. We were saying before we went live that, do you know this amazing research that says around about 6 or 7 children have a functional knowledge of money. So please, our dear viewers, don't run your life in the household saying, this one knows nothing, they're 6, they're 7, they're 8, they know nothing about money. No. Please shift your mindset and say they have a functional knowledge. I want to empower them. Let's talk of quick examples. The idea of putting money in the humble piggy bank.
Yes.
And then end of the month, we take and we count it. What are you doing? You're saying to the child, do you see this 10 cents that you didn't spend? Do you see this 20 cents? Do you see this 1 rand? Look at how much we have now because you didn't spend it at the spaza shop. Do you see how we are introducing savings at an early age? Finally, you are at the shop. This is my favorite one because shopping, when we grow up, consumes a lot of our money. Imagine if we had good habit. So in the shop and you say to you, do you see this brand? costs this much. Do you see this one? It's a no-name brand. It costs this. Do you see that? Do you see the differences? It's important to decide which brand you buy, because we buy so much of, maybe it's beans, we buy so much of cold drink. You're explaining to the child that if you save a little bit between the brands, do you imagine how much it is over time? Can you see how you can make shopping fun and you are making them learn? And those are habits you and I would agree.
Yes,
when
absolutely.
We wish we knew that at the beginning.
Yes. Dr. Frank, there's two things I want to ask you before we wrap up our time together. Number one is, how early do we start? Because a lot of people might be going, okay, do I start at 6 or can I start earlier with
You
my
can
kids?
even start earlier. So the 6 or 7, we are saying children already have a functional. In other words, when we say functional, they already have an idea of how money works. You can never start too early. Start as early as you can see the comprehension is there.
Last question, Dr. Frank, then I have to let you go. I'm completely out of time. Is how do you find that tradition and cultural practices shape financial behavior of South Africans? And I say this because there's certain language, like
Yes.
we were saying at the start of
Absolutely.
this. I cannot tell it. This
Yes.
is the last thing between me and poverty. But we're also seeing, I will say this, but I will spend a lot at a funeral. How do you
Correct.
find that traditions and cultural things influences financial behavior of South Africans and how that becomes heritage of how we are?
Absolutely, they do. And we've just touched on one. For example, what we spend on someone who's passed away, because you are sending them off with dignity. What we spend on weddings, lobola, for example. Those are all cultural things that we see at the end of the day impacting money. And we're saying that's are fine, but take budgeting, take shopping with a list, take checking your bank statement regularly as part of that tradition that you give in your family.
Dr. Frank, Dr. Pastor Frank McGregor, preaching to us this morning, and I think it's so apt. I'm having to reprogram from everything that you've just mentioned this morning.
I love
that I need to learn for myself and for the sake of the generations that come after. Thank you so much for joining us.
Fantastic. Great to be here.
Oh my goodness, TMSF, I don't know about you, some great insights. Heritage Month is looking a little bit different because we're talking about the heritage, the financial heritage that we're keeping as a family and the legacy that we leave for future generations and the relationship that they have when it comes to their finances. And very importantly, takeaway today is watch the way you speak about money. Whether it's there or it's not, it becomes a way that children learn about how money moves and how they can have and handle money. It's not too late for you to be able to make a difference for the generations to come. Stick around.